Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that has stirred countless debates and emotions over the years. The 9/11 was an inside job theory. Let's begin by asking, what truly happened on that fateful day, and why do some believe it was orchestrated from within our own government?
It's a compelling question, Michelle. Many argue the official narrative doesn't add up. For instance, the collapse of the Twin Towers and Building 7, how could they fall so uniformly without prior demolition setups?
Absolutely, Guy. The physics just seem off. Not to mention, there are records of financial anomalies leading up to the attack with someone betting on a disaster.
But why would our government betray its people like that? Is it even plausible to suspect such malice for political or financial gain?
These are the questions that keep this theory alive, driving us to reassess what we've been told. As we move forward, let's look at these claims with evidence and empathy. So, diving into the official narrative, it's crucial to remember its outlines foreign operatives hijacking planes to execute the attacks. But here's the twist: how do we reconcile this with the alleged insider fingerprint marks on that day?
Exactly, Michelle. Blaming external threats is one thing, but there's the argument about how swiftly intelligence agencies identified the perpetrators. Was it all too convenient?
And if we look at historical patterns, like Pearl Harbor or the Gulf of Tonkin, there are precedents for governments using events to justify military action. Could 9/11 have fit this mold?
But surely, we can't ignore the human element. The horror on that day was real, experienced by thousands. Would people truly orchestrate such tragedy for strategic purposes? It's this lack of humanity that I struggle to comprehend.
These are precisely the dichotomies that cloud our understanding. Each layer of this narrative invites critical evaluation, whether in questioning intelligence failures or considering geopolitical advantages gained post 9/11.
True, and dissecting these narratives isn't just about suspicion, it's about ensuring transparency and accountability to prevent history from repeating itself under the veil of ignorance.
And it's a reminder to remain vigilant and question official accounts, not just to conspiracy theorize, but to ensure comprehensive truth.
As we delve deeper, another angle emerges: how Building 7, which wasn't directly hit, collapsed. Experts argue about its mysterious, nearly free fall-speed descent, resembling controlled demolition. Could this suggest premeditated planning?
That's a critical point, Michelle. The official explanation cites structural damage and fires, yet footage sparks doubts. The clear-cut nature of its collapse poses lingering questions about what we may not have been shown.
Building on that, there's also evidence pointing to possible foreknowledge. Remember the put options on airline stocks? It raises suspicions around who might have anticipated the attacks and benefited financially.
It haunts me to think of the human cost versus clandestine gains. But we also have to explore, how could such a massive operation retain secrecy among numerous insiders? Wouldn't someone have spoken out boldly by now?
Sonia, that's the ethical heart of it, balancing the scale of conspiracy against the natural inclination for whistleblowing. Yet, efforts to discredit or silence dissenters could also blur these lines of truth.
Indeed, those who have questioned the events risk dismissal or worse. These discordant voices are often suppressed, igniting further speculation that there might indeed be more beneath the surface.
Agreed. Let's not forget the Patriot Act's passing post 9/11, expediting surveillance and reducing freedoms and opportunity any strategic political maneuver would seize. Did the tragedy merely serve as a means to an ominous end?
It's chilling, really. If the inside job theory holds any truth, we're forced to reconsider not just the event, but its echoes on democracy and civil liberties, prompting critical vigilance in future narratives.
As we analyze the theorist's evidence, let's revisit some unanswered questions. Are there unexplored links between Building 7's collapse and the subsequent geopolitical shift?
It's an essential inquiry, Michelle. The controlled demolition argument remains persuasive for many, bolstered by the striking resemblance of its fault to such engineering. Yet, mainstream reports largely ignore these parallels. Or we do believe it's all coincidental.
Furthermore, the financial anomalies you alluded to can't be overstated. The sheer volume of airline stock put options viewed under financial forecasting lenses suggests more than mere coincidence. Why wasn't this aggressively investigated?
Exactly, Ryan. Digging deeper into motive, one has to question the economic aftermath. While many profited post 9/11, the personal reserves of morality surely play a role. Would those privy to such plans not eventually rebel against concealing such truth?
That's a compelling point, Sonia. Yet, the structure of power and potential fear of reprisal could deter whistleblowers. Our challenge is discerning whether silence stems from loyalty, threat, or disbelief in repercussions.
And when these potential deterrents intersect with opaque military-industrial goals, it becomes clear how tragedy might serve hidden agendas. Was the post-attack legislative rush more about control than security?
The subsequent curtailment of freedoms under sweeping policies certainly supports that notion, Guy. Were we unknowingly consenting to encroachments under the guise of safety? As citizens, our autonomy shouldn't be sacrificed without substantial cause.
The deeper the investigation goes, the more disillusioning it is. Trust in governmental transparency becomes clouded by such inquiries. How do we balance healthy skepticism with national loyalty?
Closing this section, we face the challenge of interpreting evidence beyond surface appearances. It's vital to continue questioning historical narratives while advocating for openness and protection against future manipulation. We now venture into the psychological factors and public perception surrounding these theories. While facts and evidence are pivotal, what role does the human psyche play in shaping these beliefs?
It's fascinating, Michelle. Humans naturally seek meaning in chaos. Conspiracy theories can provide a sense of order amidst uncertainty, but can also become a double-edged sword, breeding distrust.
Exactly, Guy. We must consider cognitive biases. Things like confirmation bias can make individuals cling to theories that align with their worldviews. How do we remain objective in such a charged context?
This is where empathy comes in. Many who believe in these theories have lived through trauma and seek understanding. Shouldn't we approach their beliefs with compassion rather than dismissal?
Absolutely, Sonia. As we untangle these complexities, how does the collective memory of 9/11 feed into our national identity? Does the shared trauma influence our propensity to believe or reject the inside job theory?
The trauma indeed seeps into our subconscious. Trust in institutions eroded post 9/11, fueling theories of internal betrayal. Yet, are we simply coping with paranoia, or is there more depth to these suspicions?
Framing is crucial too. Media portrayals heavily sway public perception. If coverage marginalizes alternative theories, does it unintentionally stifle vital discourse and critical examination?
So true, Ryan. In seeking truth, we grapple with a narrative tug-of-war. As the public, our role demands active engagement, balancing skepticism with informed reasoning. Isn't that the foundation of democratic inquiry?
In summation, our exploration reveals the intricate dance between psychological underpinnings and societal narratives. Moving forward, our challenge remains to delve deeper, question wisely, and uphold the sanctity of open dialogue. As we reach the heart of our discussion on the implications of accepting the inside job theory, it's crucial to consider the impacts beyond just historical narrative adjustments. Where would acceptance lead us culturally and politically?
If accepted, the theory could shatter public trust entirely, a pivotal concern. Would we then re-evaluate all governmental narratives, fueling an era dominated by skepticism?
On a global scale, it might drastically alter diplomatic relations. If true, how would allies and adversaries view us? And what if similar veils exist elsewhere, impacting international policies?
Emotionally, it's about reconciling betrayal. Imagine the collective psyche trying to mend from such an internal breach. Could such a recognition usher a wave of demand for systemic reform?
Those are profound points. Acceptance could unravel deeply ingrained structures, potentially inspiring broader justice but also destabilizing societal constructs. Are we prepared for such a paradigm shift?
The idea of rewriting history is both compelling and terrifying. Visionaries urge for revision for truth, but pragmatists fear chaos. Can society handle peeling back layers this contentious?
It's a question of accountability versus stability. Could unmasking supposed truth ignite redemption, or rather catalyze discord? History illustrates both as possible outcomes in such scenarios.
In the end, we must honour this lost by seeking truth that unites rather than divides. Is it idealistic to hope for harmony through transparency?
Ultimately, the journey remains layered with caution, seeking openness while braving potential upheaval, a balance essential to our democracy's resilience and growth. Let's transition into expert opinions and analysis of the 9/11 incident. How do engineers and architects explain the structural failures that day, and what insights do they provide on the matter of controlled demolitions?
Engineers often argue that the unprecedented impact and subsequent fires weakened the structure significantly. Yet, a subset of experts remains uneasy with such explanations, suggesting the precision seen in Building 7's descent aligns more with controlled demolition procedures. Are they simply being overlooked?
True, Guy. Though the National Institute of Standards and Technology concludes fire was the primary cause, some dissenting technical experts have faced opposition when raising alternate hypotheses. Are professional disagreements being prematurely close to match official accounts?
It's potent to consider if the scientific community allows room for dissenting theories to flourish. Do institutional biases towards accepting official findings ever stifle these alternative investigations?
Both profound questions, and indeed, the debate over scientific integrity and funding influences is vital, too. Do governmental interests inadvertently shape scientific narratives, straying from objective truth?
Further complicating this is the role of advocacy groups like architects and engineers for 9/11 truth. Their insistence on re-examining the evidence underscores a philosophical clash within the engineering community over this topic. Are we seeing a burgeoning demand for transparency?
The existence of these groups suggests an undeniable curiosity and concern among professionals challenging separations between accepted reality and perceived truth. Can such intellectual persistence initiate meaningful inquiries into September 11's events?
Ultimately, their persistence may lead us towards honest dialogue and deeper excavations of truth. How do we measure the impact of prevailing attitudes against growing support for alternative analyses?
In closing this segment, experts reveal the gulf between consensus and scrutiny, imploring us to balance diverse perspectives with factual rigor while advocating for uncovering potential obscure truths. As we tackle the counter-arguments, let's challenge the claim that 9/11 was an inside job with the widely accepted explanations. Do these mainstream answers hold up under critical analysis?
Many experts reinforce the idea that the buildings collapsed due to structural failures induced by plane impacts and resulting fires. Yet, with Building 7's symmetric fall, questions about a possible controlled demolition persist. Is skepticism merited in this case?
Absolutely, Guy. It's critical to differentiate between valid scientific discourse and unfounded speculation. While official reports favor structural damage, do they sufficiently address these lingering anomalies?
It's important we consider the human tendency to mistrust official accounts, especially in tragedies. Isn't it vital that we not only scrutinize the evidence, but also understand the psychological roots of our doubts?
These conversations reveal how distrust can warp perception of evidence. Yet, can thorough rebuttals and transparency in investigations rebuild that trust and resolve outstanding doubts?
Trust indeed plays a pivotal role. Challenging theories without infringing on legitimate inquiries is essential. Shouldn't official bodies encourage alternative investigations instead of dismissing them outright?
Encouraging diverse viewpoints can enrich our understanding. Nevertheless, without rigorous evidence, mainstream conclusions often dominate, exposing the challenge of balancing investigation with maintaining public confidence.
So true, Ryan. Acknowledging past intelligence lapses while affirming national integrity could prevent adoption of extreme views. Wouldn't this approach bolster civic engagement and critical examination?
Our analysis underscores a nuanced stance between skepticism and evidence. Moving forward, promoting open discourse and rigorous analysis is crucial for aligning truth with narrative. We've reached the conclusion of our exploration into the 9/11 was an inside job theory. Let's distill the essence of our dialogue, addressing the core questions and potential insights gained.
Reflecting on our discussions, it's clear that dissecting the official narrative uncovers layers of skepticism, particularly surrounding Building 7 and intelligence responses. But the looming question remains, could the drive for transparency also inadvertently breed disillusionment?
Precisely, Guy. Our analysis revealed how the theory challenges conventional trust, prompting deeper scrutiny of governmental narratives. Do unresolved truths risk tipping public sentiment towards cynicism, or can they engender authentic accountability?
It's a delicate balance. Beyond the theory, though, lies an emotional reckoning. How do we grapple with the implications of such possibilities while honouring collective pain from that tragic day? Can we channel this inquiry towards constructive unity rather than division?
Engaging with these questions reveals the complexity of reconciling skepticism with faith in institutions. Our journey has unearthed the necessity of questioning, yet striving for answers that fortify social cohesion moving forward.
The vital takeaway is the role open discourse plays in nurturing informed perspectives. Igniting curiosity is essential, but so is drawing from rational critique and grounding in evidence to guide our understanding of events.
Perhaps, by fostering dialogue that melds skepticism with evidence, we forge a path to clearer truth, a truth that considers public sentiment while valuing critical inquiry as its compass.
Our discussions suggest that bridging gaps between diverging theories may not fully unravel the truth. Instead, it builds resilience, accepting imperfections in narratives while ardently pursuing discernment. Isn't this the heart of democratic vigilance?
In these closing thoughts, we've tackled profound questions that invite continued exploration. Our challenge continues to nurture a space where truth and critical thinking coexist, fostering a future resilient to both shadow and flame.